So if you're a parent, it is your job to watch for the souls of your children. That's your job. Other people may assist you in that job, but that's your job. You cannot outsource that to a teacher. You cannot outsource that to a youth pastor. You cannot outsource that to someone else. They can come alongside you, but no one in the world is better positioned to watch for the soul of a child than their parent. Nobody is. You have got to take that seriously. And as they age, especially when they get into middle school and high school, all of a sudden it becomes very easy to stick your head in the sand and to stop watching and to stop being in their business as much and to stop paying as much attention to their friends and to, well, I know it's my phone, I bought it, they're on my plan, I'm paying the bill for it, but what emotional rift am I going to create if I take their phone and I look through their phone and I have their password and I hold their feet to the fire? And many times parents are unwilling to watch because you're going to get emotionally blackmailed by your 15-year-old and you stick your head in the sand, and that's not a good model for parenting. You have to watch. No one likes watching. It's work. You know that? Nobody ever likes standing guard at 3 a.m. and trying to stay awake and see if someone's coming. No one's come up that hill in a decade, a century, centuries. No one's come up the hill in centuries. Why am I going to watch? This is a waste of my time. It wasn't a waste of their time. You've got to take that responsibility seriously. If you're a dad or a husband in the room, I would implore you even stronger to watch, to be on guard. Like a good coach that calls a timeout and calls the athlete over and says, hey, we got to make this adjustment. You got to be that person. Do it lovingly. Don't be a dictator. Don't cram it down their throat, but you have to do that. A good coach will say, listen, every time you get the ball, you dribble into the corner and they trap you and we turn the ball over. You can't dribble in the corner anymore. I'm not a genius, but I know enough. We got to avoid that. A good watchman, a good dad, a good mom will say, hey, honey, every time you take your phone into your room at night, I think you're like staying up all night and you're looking at it. We can't do this because the next day you're tired as all get out. You're emotionally disconnected. You seem discontent in your spirit. Like, this is not a good idea. I'm seeing a pattern here. We got to stop this. We have to take that phone and put it to bed on the counter when you go to bed. We've got to avoid this. You have to see the things that are happening and say, you're getting trapped in the corner over here. That requires a coach. It requires a watchman. It requires someone vigilant, looking and perceiving and trying to understand what is happening and trying to make the adjustments and to help guide. Some of you are grandparents. Man, don't stop being a watchman just because the kids are grown now. And boy, I'm so grateful for all of the grandpas and the grandmas that have been spiritual matriarchs and patriarchs who have stood in the gap and have watched for your grandkids or prayed for your grandkids, maybe even when their parents were in a season when they weren't doing so. Keep that up. If you're a group leader, watch. Listen to what's being said. Are there lies that people in your group are buying into? Are there patterns of behavior that they keep manifesting that you're locking horns with everybody? You got a problem with them, you got a problem with them, you got a problem with them, and a problem with them. Guess what? You're the common denominator. Somebody has to watch and somebody has to show that blind spot to someone. And that's not fun. That's not easy. But that's a good job. I had someone recently that they were coming to me kind of to trump their group leader because their group leader had told them clearly, like, listen, you've come to faith and we're doing well and I'm helping you, but you're still living with your boyfriend and we got to change this. And they were mad. They're coming to me to tattle on the group leader about what a bad job they did. And I didn't love the conversation because I had to tell them they actually did a good job. They're trying to watch for your soul. They're telling you the right thing. And of course, then they were mad at me. But that happens sometimes when you're a watcher. It's part of the territory. You have to watch. Pastors have to watch. We will work through in this series the church and the structure and pastors and the jobs and what do they do, and it'll be so much fun. But part of the pastoral job is to watch. We learn this in Hebrews 13, where we are told that pastors will give an account for the people that they are responsible for their flock, because, quote, they watch for your souls. That's the job. But it's not just a pastor's job. The admonition to watch, if you pay attention to the text of Scripture, it'll tell you over and over again. 1 Peter, be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because you have an adversary. He's like a roaring lion walking about, seeking whom he may devour. Paul will tell you to walk circumspectly. John will tell you to watch. They're all saying the same basic thing. Get your spiritual head on a swivel. Pay attention to what's happening. Do not fall asleep at the wheel. Do not stick your head in the sand. And you actually have to monitor what is happening. What is doing damage to your heart's love for Jesus? What is eroding you spiritually? What is threatening you or your family spiritually? You got to pay attention to that stuff. Because if you don't identify it and mark it, it'll get you. It'll get you.